We had this dark match. And me and Davey just had the absolute worst match. We went out there and just had about 25 minutes of just messed up high spots and flubs. And Davey, neither one of us was ready for the match. We didn't know we were having the match until that day. And anyway, just the timing and the all the stuff that you need to have a really great match, everything was just off that night. And I just remember walking through the curtain after the match in Binghamton, and Vince is standing there. He goes, "It's going to get better, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it'll get better," and that was it. And then Davey came up with a staph infection, which I think I've always thought was baloney, that he didn't have a staph infection. He had a drug addiction, and he just went home for the whole summer. He took the whole summer off. I don't know whether that's true or not. He may have had a staph infection, but let me put it this way. Davey had numerous staph infections over the 20 years that we wrestled together, and it seemed convenient that whenever he needed a little time off to get a break, he came up with this staph infection, and it always worked, I guess. So, but I never believed that he actually had a staph infection. But I was disappointed because I called Davey. I know it's hard to understand sometimes, but I thought so hard about this match at Wembley. Like when you watch the match at Wembley, I mean, I don't know how other wrestlers construct a match in their head, but I constructed the match from the tie-up to the next move, to the next move, to the next move, and vice versa, like what Davey would do to me. And I pieced it together. First, I had for first 5 minutes of the match, and then within a couple of weeks, I had the first 15 minutes, and then it was 20 minutes, and then it was 25, and I pieced the whole match, move for move, every single step of it, the match. And I kept calling Davey all summer and going, "Davey, I got to talk to you about this match. Like I've got this sort of idea in my head of how the match should go, and it's going to be the best match ever. And I need you to call me back." And Davey never called me back. I don't know why he would just refuse to call me. I think he had the monkey on his back, and he was probably doing a lot of blow with Jim the Anvil Neidhart, and which is a shame because they both were their worst enemies at the time, like to drag themselves through that. And Davey really let himself go all summer, and Jim Neidhart, they both had drug problems, and Davey just never called me. For 2 months, he ducked me every single day. I call my sister every day and go, please tell Davey to call me. He's got to call me about the match. And he would never call me. And I started getting kind of annoyed as the day it got within like 2 or 3 days of SummerSlam. And I still haven't heard from Davey. I called him even before I got on the plane. I still never heard from him. I got on the plane, flew to England. There's Davey standing in the dressing room at Wembley Stadium, where we were there the day before, where they filmed those interviews. You know, the one I talk about, Windsor Castle or something like that, some castle that. But I just remember it's like this was all pre-taped the day before. And so when I got with Davey in the dressing room in Wembley, I was really mad at him. Like, what the hell? I said, why haven't you called me? Like, this is the biggest moment of your whole life. And I was the one that put you in the match. Like, you weren't, this is supposed to be me and Sean, but I went to bat for you and got you, and this is the biggest moment of your career, and you don't call me? And I remember Davey almost broke down in tears and said, I'm fucked. I'm fucked. And he told me that he was in really in a bad state, and told me he had been doing lines with Jim Neidhart right up until he got on the plane, and that he was basically a mess. And he goes, I haven't wrestled for 2 months. My timing's off. I haven't worked out. And he was really scared and almost kind of panicked, and was like, and I was like, I actually kind of calmed him down. I said, Davey, we'll be fine. You just got to listen to me all the way through the match. Trust me, and I will carry you through this whole match, and we'll be fine. Just get a good night's sleep, and we'll make this work tomorrow. You know, just think positive right now. All that stuff, everything you've done, and the fact that you didn't call me is irrelevant. Let's focus on the task at hand, kind of thing. And So Davey was good that way. He was like, I think he was really scared and knew that he'd flubbed a big moment in his career, and I think he knew that if there was anybody that could save him, it would be me. And that was the hardest part about that match, is I did most of the work for both of us.
I was very confident. I don't know what it was. I think it was the pink tights, the sunglasses, the wet hair. I don't even know for sure. But before Wembley, I'd say from about 1990 to through 91, without any question, and I don't mean it in a arrogant way, but I was the biggest star in Germany, or in England and Germany for sure, and all Europe. Huge response every night. Biggest response of the night when I walked through the curtain. The place would go crazy. In the hotel lobbies, in every single English city that we wrestled in, they would be like a stampede of kids and grown-ups that would just mob you for autographs. I always had the biggest mob and biggest crowd, and I knew in Wembley that me versus Bulldog would be, to an English wrestling fan, would be the greatest matchup. Like it would really hit that. You know, the beauty to a great wrestling match is when you don't know who's going to win. You know, when you see a storyline in wrestling where you go, I don't know who's going to win. You know, Bret Hart or Stone Cold, or Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, or Bulldog versus Bret Hart in Wembley. Like, who's going to win? What's the finish going to be? And when you think about it, you know, I always said that to Vince. I said, right up until match time. I mean, I think a lot of people really didn't even think that much about the match. But when you stop and think about it, it's like, who's going to win? Bret Hart or Davey Boy? I think that's when it was like British fans were like, that's what I want to see. I don't know who's going to win. Like, no one knows who's going to win. And that's when you have for a wrestler, that's when you can piece a match together that's just a beautiful movie, really. And I knew that nobody really could say for sure who was going to win this one. And so I knew that's the big question. Like, that'll weigh heavy on fans all the way through it. And I believe, and I think I'm true to say this, that I was more over in England than Davey was. I was that popular in England. And so I knew when I put the whole match together that, done right, this would be the best match ever, and the outcome would be, it would be heroic. Like, Davey would win, and I just knew, I said, this will be magic for both of us. Like, me losing in Wembley to Davey Boy will be fine. Like, I'll be just as good the next day as like, it won't hurt me. And I knew that it would do great things for Davey. But I also knew that losing to Davey, I thought there would be a rebound effect, that people would feel bad that I lost, and they feel bad that they cheered against me. And I knew that in America and, say, Canada, I was more over in those markets than Davey was. So a lot of people would be disappointed that I lost the title, but at the same time, the English fans would be so happy because they love their British wrestlers, as they should, and they were going to love the fact that Davey beat me. But I knew that a week later they'd kind of feel bad that they actually deep down inside kind of liked me better than Davey and wished that maybe we'd both be champions or something like that. But anyway, it was just a psychology of and sort of understanding your audience. I knew that if we delivered the match that I had in my head, that would make both me and Davey, and that's pretty much what happened.